everybody. It is Thursday! Good evening. Who is with me tonight at more-ish than 8 tonight? Hey, Jennifer, good to have you with us. Kitty. Good to have you with us. Kim. Hello, how are you? You were catching up on some old ones tonight. I kept on getting these notifications. Somebody's watching old stuff. I kept you guys waiting. It's the dinner. We try to get dinner in. Because it does go downhill after this in my day. Whew. I do eventually collapse, people. Hey, Adele and Dazzle, Tracy! Great to have you here. Rita! How are you and Ronnie doing? Good to have you with us. Yes, so! Hey, Dennis is with us too. Kelly! You were watching some old ones too. Good to have you with us. Happy Thursday, Heidi. I don't feel like I got a special email. I do not know what's on sale this weekend in Iowa, Heidi. Or am my days mixed up? Is that coming to me tomorrow? I feel I didn't even glance at a what's special in Iowa today. Hey, Kristen. Good to have you with us. Glad to hear it, Rita. Glad to hear that you guys are doing well. Glad to hear it. It's too easy to jump on the old ones. Well, I get it. I get it. What did I hear in New Mexico today on the economy in New Mexico? Hang on, I heard something today. Now that and I said, that was a very interesting fact. I will share that with Kelly later. On the economy of northern New Mexico. Hey, Rick, how are you? Good to have you with us. What did I hear about New Mexico? Greek. I will have to remember that. I have my Greek pizza place that I work with. No, it was better than it sucks, Kelly. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. Work with me. It was on the news. It was on the news. Oh, maybe that's where the food lady was. The food bank. They were covering maybe it does suck. That's where they had the food bank lady on the news tonight. She retired at 80, the lady that's working the food bank, and at 86 she started to work for the food bank. She started to work there in May because she's perfectly healthy, and there's a great need. And the food bank there in northern New Mexico normally does 500,000 pounds of food a month. And now they're doing over 1 million pounds of food. And she is there hustling. They're putting her on potatoes and stuff. Lifting the sacks of potatoes. An 86-year-old woman. I am not sure why you're getting federal officers either. That was not part of the story. But it was on a story about your economy. So, I mean, obviously that's not great that there's such a great need for the food bank. But I gotta tell you, this 86-year-old woman, I mean, I heard it on the radio. I want to see a picture of her. She was a hustler. She was, I mean, 86, and I just picture her there slinging potatoes. That's what they started her on, and she's filling sacks of potatoes and stuff, and doing stuff for the food bank. And it's something that she really felt strongly about to help people in need, and I loved it. I loved the way she told the story, and but the numbers of it is staggering when you. She saw a need. She knew there was something she could do. Right. She saw a need. She knew there was something she could do, and she went and did it. And that's really a part of the story. That's what I tell you all the time. Focus on what you can do and focus on what you can control. Don't worry about the stuff you can't. Do not worry about the stuff you can't control. Let's worry about what you can. Okay, so that is what I do. But yeah, I mean that she was tough, Kelly. She really was, and it was a great story. Really great. It's on NPR, so you can find it, I'm sure. I think it's called the Food Depot or something. Was the big food bank that they were interviewing her at. But she had a lot of spunk, and she had no problems telling you she's perfectly healthy. There ain't a thing wrong with her. At 86, if only I could say that. I can't say that at my age. Linda is on. Okay, so I told you I'm grateful for the food bank lady. What are you guys? Homeland Security is going to protect federal property. I don't even want to. That's a part of the news that I haven't turned on. Tell me something we're grateful for. Let's have some good news, people. Let's have some good news. Joanne is with us. Julie Jankowicz is with us. Vina's with us. Hey, Joanne. So tell me what we're grateful for, everybody. Tell me about it. Kath is with us. Tell me what is great in your world. What are you grateful for? It was a good day. Our team continues to grow. We got a lot of really good things going on. But tell me about your world. That's what I want to know. Barb is with us tonight. Hey, Barb, great to have you here. How are things in Pittsburgh tonight? Going to work each day. That is something to be grateful for. Having meaningful work to do and meaningful connection with your customers and your team is huge. You got some rain today. That is a good thing. I don't know if we got any at home today, but we definitely got some. The downpours at work today. This afternoon we got some big downpours. I love hearing about good sales, Krita. Excuse me. You know I love hearing about that. Grateful for every shopper who walks through your shop door every day. Aren't they a blessing? Jerry's not on yet. Grateful for Julie's almost caught up on incoming consignments. That's awesome. You can come work our processing center, Julie. We'll put you to work. Isn't it great? And I was going to talk about that later. I mean, there are some great candidates out there right now. And we're going to cover that tonight because there really are, Vina. There's some phenomenal, very strong people with phenomenal people skills. I mean, really that get people. I mean, that is we've been really building a better team. I'm really excited for it. I'm really excited for it, and I got some information on that tonight. Oh, I saw you do that. You two did a live together, Kim, a couple weeks ago when you first talked about it and everything. I remember that. That's great. Local press coverage. The press is a wonderful medium. And I know a lot of us have written it off in the past and everything, but the newspapers and the media, they're not only looking for negative stories. They love the negative, but they're looking for a lot of good stories, and it is really great the stories that they're writing. It really is wonderful. I mean, we have had more than our fair share of press during this, and it really is helpful. Kristen, that's great. I am glad you're getting no pushback on the masks. The masks are important. They really are. I mean, most people that start to come in without one, it's just a simple accident. They left it in the car. As soon as they see somebody else with a mask, they run back and get it. You don't even have to tell them, and people understand it. I was in a place up here yesterday that I was a little surprised. A guy, the workers weren't wearing masks, and then I was, and another customer came in and said, "Do I need a mask in here?" And the guy said, "Don't worry about it." And I think it was a little laissez-faire about it, but that's great, Kim. I mean, it is the power of community. The power of community is what is powering us through this. So, and your resale community is all about that. So, that is what we are doing here. Oh, that's great, Kristen. I like that. Thank you for wearing a mask or covering while shopping. That is good. Let's see what we got tonight in our Good Morning, Good Night book. All right, are you ready? We are on page 38 tonight in the Good Morning, Good Night book for those of you that are following along. The Good Morning, Good Night book, we're on page 38. Kristen, I love hearing that. I love hearing that you're at the point that you need to hire some part-time help. That is awesome. Our good morning today is good morning, you magnificent slice of perfection. Yeah, you! Yes! That is our good morning tonight. That is our good morning tonight. Let's get this party started. I got a lot to cover here tonight. I like this quote I got. I come across these quotes in my travels each day from various places, and this is another good one. Fear is a reaction. Courage is a choice. Winston Churchill on that one. Okay, let's see what's going on here in the world. I got a lot to cover. Here. They're trying to paint back to school shopping is off to a rough start. Uncertainty over reopening quashes demand for new clothes and dorm decorations. Saying they'll spend almost nothing this year. I think it's easy to find those stories. And this is, covering areas of California which have, been closed. And it's an important time in the spending year, so we'll certainly see where it goes. And I think we'll have some variances in it based on parts of the country. But I think one of the ways to play up school, okay, is people like the new beginning. People like the restart. People like, it's a chance to recharge, even if you're going to end up doing it online. The whole concept that we came up with the other night, that this needs to be more school than ish. And that includes getting up and getting dressed in the morning to go to school, having that first day of school outfit. Maybe it won't be as fancy because not all the kids are going to see your new shoes and you're not doing as much walking around and things. But it needs to be more school than ish, because when you're dressed the part, you act the part, you do the work. Okay? When you sit there in your pajamas all day on your Zoom school call, you're disconnected from it. So it's an important connection for that. So more school than ish, more work than ish. It's an important connection. We'll see how it continues to develop. Amazon has confirmed an indefinite Prime Day postponement. Amazon confirmed delay in an unusual staggered global approach to Prime Day this year. According to a statement from the e-commerce giant, Prime Day will be held in India August 6th to 7th, while members around the world will experience Prime Day later this year. The Red Letter event, which other retailers have also embraced as a way to boost midsummer shopping, has been held in mid-July for the past 5 years. Amazon says it will share more details soon. The e-commerce giant is also anticipating a loss of some 100 million because it may have to deeply discount devices. Wayfair on Monday also said it will postpone its annual sales event day, Way Day, which last year was held in April. Was there anything else on this? No. That was the useful point at that. I'm going to cover that later. This is good. We're going to cover that. Okay. How Ascena went bankrupt. The retailer went big in the new millennium, even as clothing sales shrank. Its Chapter 11 filing Thursday isn't just about the pandemic. Ann Taylor, Lane Bryant, owner Ascena, last year pushed back on the notion it was anywhere near bankruptcy. Its interim board chief in October pointed to its large, iconic brand and a business with significant liquidity, and it doubled down on that as recently as March. That didn't last. The company is restructuring under Chapter 11, filing documents in bankruptcy court today that include a restructuring support agreement with more than 68% of its secured term lenders, $150 million in a new term loan from existing lenders, and a plan to significantly reduce debt by about $1 billion, according to a company press release. It won't emerge unscathed. After ditching its discount banners last year, liquidating Dress Barn and all its 544 stores, and selling a majority stake in Maurice's, Ascena is now further dismantling its stable that includes selling its Catherine's plus-size banner to online plus retailer City Chic, closing all Catherine stores in the process. Stores run by its Justice Tween brand will close, probably a significant number, considering the brand's troubling roller coaster performance. While the overall number of store closures across any of the brands is yet to be determined, the company seems to be leaving its Ann Incorporated premium brands, Ann Taylor, Loft, and Lou and Grey, and its Lane Bryant Plus brand more or less intact. Any hope of turning around its already struggling business appears to have been dashed by the COVID-19 pandemic, which in the first quarter forced its stores shut and swept away demand as people need and want fewer clothes and a wavering work-from-home economy. It's been bleak, as for all non-essential retailers, especially those selling apparel, and the recovery as stores have opened has been feeble. But the troubled story about them is less about the pandemic and more about how it decided to go big in the last decade as clothing sales growth steadily declined. Well before COVID-19 shook the retail industry, sales at all of Ascena banners steadily tumbled. The company notched an overall net sales decline in 2019, $5.49 billion compared to $5.57 billion in 2018, and an operating loss that widened to $681.5 million from $88.9 million in 2018. Operating losses in their last half year were $125 million, and it was way down by more than $1.2 billion of long-term debt. They built their own coffin. See, this is the sad part of it when you look at the real story of how these companies started. Rosalind Jaffe founded Dress Barn in 1962 when she opened her first clothing store in Connecticut for working mothers. That innovation caught on. Her and her husband grew it into a chain. In 1993, son David Jaffe left a Wall Street career to help lead the company, taking the CEO spot in 2002. It was in the 21st century that Dress Barn changed to Ascena, a made-up name courtesy of a consulting firm, and began collecting other brands, many of them cast-offs of Les Wexner's limited, then L Brands empire. Ascena bought Justice, formerly Limited 2, and Plus banners Lane Bryant and Catherine's. In 2012, according to a timeline on their website, then after hedge fund and Ann Inc. Golden Gate Capital reportedly agitated for sale, Ascena obliged buying Ann Taylor and Loft. That $2.15 billion purchase has been a headache ever since, in the form of dissipating sales, a major asset write-down, and an investor lawsuit. Les Wexner was dumping anything that was apparel. At a time when you see Amazon stock going from $100 to $1,000 per share, when people are investing in e-commerce and logistics companies, somebody goes in there and buys these antiquated apparel brands. Golden Gate Capital and Les Wexner must have been laughing their butts off. Certainly, the COVID-19 crisis has exacerbated their woes. The retailer in March furloughed employees when it closed all 2,800 stores in the U.S., Canada, and Puerto Rico, and drew on a $230 million credit line as it took on debt to pay for its earlier acquisition spree. Households, especially those in the middle class, have watched their discretionary budgets get squeezed for decades, and working professionals haven't needed to dress up as much for their jobs, two forces that have dragged down apparel sales. But Wexner also found running a sprawling conglomerate less than ideal. While Wexner's idea to have a collection of retail banners that would draw in all women by selling to any woman at any age and stage of her life, that business didn't generally turn out that way. The brands competed with each other internally, sometimes dragging down each other's performance and stealing each other's share. And shoppers didn't always obey the lines drawn by the conglomerate and its various brands, interfering with the company's ability to divide and conquer the market. If Chapter 11 appears to present any opportunity to rethink the strategy, Ascena doesn't appear to be taking it. Ann Taylor, Loft, Lane Bryant, Justice, and Lou and Gray have incredibly loyal customers who are at the center of everything we do. The iconic brands have significant long-term potential, and we continue to deliver on their mission to provide all women and girls with fashion and inspiration to live confidently every day. A new start called the Prearranged Restructuring, a new start for our company. Yet in key ways it isn't. The leadership team, including Muda, who will still be one put in place over the last year, according to the company's release. More importantly, and possibly more risky, is the emphasis being placed on Ann Taylor and the other Ann brands lacks a clear sense of identity, making it all easy to overlook. It's just sad when you look at the way these brands were built and how they were gobbled up and then spit out by the bankers and the people borrowing money, and you really crushed them. So to me, that's just sad. I hate to see this happen to that iconic brand. You know, I mean, that's one woman's dream in 1962 that she started this store for women, okay, and grew it into this big chain, and it sits splattered across the courthouse steps today. It's just sad. This is deposits at U.S. commercial banks have surged by 18% this year to a record $15.6 trillion. The flood of cash into money market mutual funds has subsided, but at $4.6 trillion, the total is still nearly $1 trillion larger than before the pandemic. Uncertainty about the economy, it will keep cash accounts bloated, which again, I've been telling you since the beginning, hang on to cash. Hang on to cash, people. Cash is where we want to be. And that's even for personal savings. So the personal savings rate in the U.S. shot up 32.2% in April, the highest in Commerce Department records dating back to 1959, as the economic shutdown reduced or eliminated many outlets for spending. The rate slipped back to 23.2% in May, but many analysts and investors expect it to stay elevated above last year's average of 8%. So 20% versus 8%. So again, hanging on to cash is not a bad thing. It really is, Kim, to see businesses close like this, and you know, that were, you know, grave missteps by thinking beyond their britches is really some of it. I'm all for dreaming, and I'm all for building something better, but you don't grow that way, and it's sad to see that, and to see the way that what has come of that, and I'm sure the woman who founded it, you know, when you look at Dress Barn as an example, and her family are probably fine because of when they sold out, unless they took a lot of it in stock, in which case they're not. But you know, it's just sad. It doesn't have to be that, but bigger, better. That's the way everybody likes to think. Slow and steady wins the race. Weekly job claims turn higher as the virus job crisis inflicts more damage. Initial jobless claims came in at 1.4 million, the 18th straight week in which jobless claims totaled more than 1 million. They had expected 1.3 million. And this snapped a 15-week streak of declining initial claims. And that's partly because some of this is becoming permanent job losses. Okay, people that were furloughed or on partial unemployment are getting permanent pink slips. As we head into the expectation of you know, what's going to happen with the extra 600 and everything, it is tough to watch. Retailers are saying the pandemic could change the size and makeup of the retail industry for years to come. There were 1.9 million store-based retail workers unemployed, with 1.1 million of those classified as temporary layoffs, such as furloughs in June. Industry analysts say the strength or weakness of the back-to-school and holiday seasons will be a major factor if that changes. More than 1 in 4 jobs are supported by the retail industry before the crisis hit the U.S., making retail the largest private sector employee. Nearly 15.7 million people were employed by retailers in February. That dropped to 2.4 million in March and April, but recovered somewhat in May and June to about 14.4 million as of June. Analysts believe that after the pandemic, the workforce could remain smaller or shrink further as retailers discover they can't make payroll with the same headcount as costs for wages to sanitizing stores rise, or learn they can operate with a leaner staff. And quite honestly, this gets back to what some of us started with at the beginning of the show, when people like Vina were talking about great interviews and great hires. This is allowing us to find better talent, okay? The quality of our teams, the quality of the applicants we are getting is better, okay? And we are getting permanent applicants that are better people, that are better workers, that want to be with customers, that want to be at in our employ, that actually choose to be there and are thankful for it. We've had a couple people quit second jobs to come to work for us. We have other people that have been downsized out of things. We hired one today out of Children's Place closing. So we picked up an assistant manager out of that. So there's a lot of great talent out there. We've added some people actually returning to the workforce. We got a great, which usually the fall, usually August is a great time to get mothers who want to return to work, who have been home and have been out of the workforce for a long time. And we've got one of those who came to work for us, who is terrific. We hired a music teacher who's supposed to be having her first school, classroom this year, but that isn't going to happen. And but we even have plans for her should she get called to school. We can work outside of that. So there's a lot of good things in talent that is happening. And when you hire better people, you can get along with a smaller head count. So that's the other side of it. It's better quality people lets you work with fewer people and be more efficient. And that's a big part of the story. The other part of the story that isn't getting told very accurately in the press, or certainly not in the headlines, okay? Headlines sell papers, headlines sell the news. What they fit into anywhere from 30 seconds to 4 minutes. I mean, 4 minutes is a long broadcast segment, radio or TV. Okay, what they get in there is a lot of emotion and a lot of sound bites, but not a lot of substance. So when you look at the jobs numbers today, and you talk about another 1.4 million unemployed, okay, that 52.6 million people have applied for unemployment over the past 18 weeks. 52.6 million, okay? But that leaves out the fact that 20 million of those are back at work. Over 20 million, okay? And another 10 to 15 million of that are only collecting partial unemployment because they are working some. So there's things that are left out of the headlines. Yes, there's an incredible amount of unknown in this economy. Okay, a tremendous amount. We don't know what everything is going to bring, what each day, each week. But what we do know is there is some positive numbers. Okay, we know that here in this group, how many people had said they had a great sales day. And again, the important thing with that is to also sock away. Be part of the savers with that. Because we don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. We don't know what October's going to bring. Okay? I can't promise you. I don't have a crystal ball for that. If I did, I could really make some money. But I am happy, with each great day and each thing that we do better. We're going to advance, one of the things that we decided is we're going to push out full winter earlier because we want to get it sold while we can get it sold. Okay, if normally it would sell in November or something, we're going to put it out in late August, September, okay, while people are out shopping. Okay, because they may not come out in November. So maybe we'll have a better August, we'll have a better September, okay, and we'll advance those sales, and we'll bank that away. And that's really important as part of driving inventory in this new economy. Because again, we talked about that yesterday, to drive. So a quick recap of the homework assignment that we've been working on. Last night we started to talk about inventory. And inventory represents it represents your sales, okay, or your future sales. Okay, so you need to look at inventory as the value of thirds. So the inventory total, if you want to achieve the numbers we're using to keep things simple, is if you want to achieve $40,000 a month in sales, you need to average $60,000 of inventory received a month. Because on average, from the data you guys sent me, okay, all the homework you guys did, you sell 20,000 of the 60 this month, 20,000 of that next month, getting you your $40,000 a month in sales, and then 20,000 of it doesn't sell. So you're selling 2/3 of it, okay, on average, from the data you guys provide. So getting that inventory out there, getting it sold is when people are shopping is the important thing, and so we're looking to accelerate that and take advantage of that wherever we can. Kelly, word on a second PPP. There's no official word. There's hope. Okay, there continues to remain hope that they will allow for a second targeted PPP for highly affected industries that were highly injured in this: retail, restaurants, hospitality, travel, tourism, things of that nature would qualify for a second PPP under proposed legislation. There's also proposed legislation for the for reimbursement up to $1,000 per quarter per employee for keeping your stores safe and protecting your staff through the extra cleaning, extra sanitizing, all the supplies for that, the labor for that, etc. There's a lot of proposals on the table. We're at the point right now this week where the talk is they aren't going to get it done by the August recess. That they won't get any bill done. This is typical for Washington. You have to keep in mind this is very, very typical. If I bang my head against the wall because we do this, they do this all the time. This is how Washington works. It's disappointing, okay, but this is how it works there. And so they're in. I could have written this script, a month ago. Yes, so we are at the point where, oh no, I don't think anything's going to get done. I'm not sure we'll pass anything in Washington right now, and certainly not in August. I mean, not before the August recess. And I'm not selling that short yet. What that'll be, I'm not sure. I do not think there's not much of an appetite. The president has floated a payroll tax credit just as a thing. He likes to cut payroll taxes. Other presidents have done that too. It's just quite honestly not enough. Okay, it's too little. Somebody getting a $20 bump in their paycheck isn't going to cut it right now. There needs to be a paycheck for there to be a tax cut. So I am. I think some of the more targeted. It's a little bit of both, Kristen. It's a little bit of scare. It's a little bit of stalling. It's a little bit of, what are you going to give me? It's a little bit of, well, you're not going to give me what I want, so you're going to get nothing. I will hold hostage this bill. I will hold hostage, the good stuff. Okay? It's brinkmanship. It's games. Quite honestly, a big part of me hates the games of Washington. Okay? It really does. Okay? And when I go down there in person and they wine and dine you to the nth degree, I mean, some of these dinners I've been at are just unbelievable. And I like to eat. I like to eat. But, yes, but that's why we need to get this bill done now. They need to get this bill done now, Kim, because after the August recess, all bets are off. I was supposed to be there right after Labor Day when they came back. I was scheduled to be in D.C. On Capitol Hill right when they came back, which obviously is not happening unless things dramatically change for the better. But I was supposed to be there right after Labor Day. But it is. But they're not going to get anything done after this bill, unless things got really bad. They need to do this bill. They need to do a serious bill. They got to take care of the states and cities. They have to take care of business. They have to take care of the people on unemployment. They have to do a little something. And again, I very much believe that the unemployment will be anywhere from a $200 to a $400 bump versus the $600 that it is now. But again, talk to me a week from now when we're down to the wire. I'll have a much better idea. I may even have a better idea by this weekend, depending on what I get from Washington. There's a lot of naysayers right now that want to say that no bill will happen, and I am that's the story they always like to tell. Okay, it is always darkest before the dawn. Isn't that a saying? Darkest before the dawn. Yeah. That almost So I prefer the Dumbledore quote. The Dumbledore quote is.
Even in the darkest of times, you can always find light.
Even Dumbledore says, even in the darkest of times, you can still find light. And since we're having the gray cake tonight from Beauty and the Beast,
that's not even the same series.
It's not the same series, but I'm gonna tie it in. Thank you.
It's the gray stuff.
We're having the gray stuff, and it's fantastic. Just ask the dishes.
Try the gray stuff. It's delicious. Don't believe me. Ask the dishes.
Okay. Try the gray stuff. It's delicious. Don't believe me. Ask the dishes. Okay. Don't ask me to get a quote right, a name right, a quote right. But I'll eat dessert. I remain optimistic and hopeful. I have been talking to people in Washington and advocating for this. I haven't been interviewed too much this week. Well, I've been asked, but I haven't been published in too much this week because I've been too positive. Okay, if I could sit there and be negative, I would be in a lot of print this week. But I've honestly been positive that ultimately they will do the right thing, as they always do when their back is against the wall in Congress. They just will. Okay, they just will. I remain optimistic, and if they don't, quite honestly, they shouldn't have their job. We need to vote them all out then, because this is a time for leadership. It is time to grow up, put on their big boy and girl pants, and get the job done. Because the American people are hurting, and you won't know how bad it is until it's really bad. And I'd rather them err on the side of caution. I'd rather have them throw too much money at it. I'd rather have them posture in 2 years from now saying this was terrible, all the money they wasted or did. But it is so important that they do it. It is so important that they keep these the economy humming. Just the extra $600 a week, is billions a week. I mean, it is. I mean, it shouldn't be a lifetime job. It shouldn't be a career move. It shouldn't be more about them than it is the people. Okay, when you give, when you serve others, okay, when you give to others, it is less about you and more about others. Okay, it is not about me, it's about you. Okay, when you care more for others, okay, that's how a fireman goes into a burning building, because he cares more for others. Okay, he cares what happens. Okay, you're not going to find a fireman working in Congress. Okay, a person with a fireman's heart. Okay, with that kind of heart. Okay, with the heart to serve others. And they may start out that way. They get corrupted by the process. Okay, they get corrupted by the process. They get wooed by the fancy dinners. Okay, and I've been with congressmen and I'm just like, I'm watching the aides clean up, after a fancy dinner and really making to-go plates for themselves. And, I had one longtime congressman, well, they couldn't afford to live and eat in D.C. if we didn't have these dinners all the time so that they could, stock up all their refrigerators in their apartment where they have 10 of them in, a shoebox apartment. I mean, that is just not that's not right. You've lost focus at the point that you think that's okay. I understand coming into that environment, and that's the environment that exists. But, I've been many a time where I'm like, you could serve me pizza. You don't have to serve me anything, okay? I'm going to eat tonight, okay, whether you feed me or not, okay? But, ordering a pizza, call Subway, whatever. I don't need to be, a many hundreds of dollars a plate dinner. Although don't get me wrong, I enjoy it, but that doesn't make me forget why I am there. That doesn't make me, when they're buying, the excess is it's a different world. It's a different world, and you forget why you're there. And you shouldn't forget why you're there. And if you don't, and there is good people there, don't get me wrong. There's good people there that have good hearts that know why they're there. I have called people on that, and you don't want to know about the conversation with Elizabeth Warren and her team one time when they were fighting for the when we were dealing with the raise to the salary, and that anything under she wanted anything under $70,000 to have to be paid time and a half if you're paying a salary under 70-something thousand. And while I agreed that the $23,000 was too low, and I'm like, are you paying overtime to all these congressional aides and everything? Are they making at least $15 an hour for plus time and a half? You and I both know the answer to that, but it is an interesting, the environment that the bubble that they put themselves in. Really detaches themselves from that. You really need to understand what happens. And quite honestly, how to make a payroll. There's some guys there. I mean, I met a guy one time, congressman from Pennsylvania, who owned a car dealership, who talked about selling his collection of classic cars and everything so he could make payroll. Okay, and he got it. He understood it. Okay, and his father was telling him, if you sell those cars, you'll never see them again. And he's like, if I don't sell those cars, we'll never see the rest of it again. We may lose the rest of it. That's when you're choosing for your own family, okay, to say, hey, we'll have a mac and cheese tonight, okay, so that you can make payroll and things. When I talk to those people get it. Okay, those people understand what it's like to do when you talk to people that have taken out of their own pocket to cover payroll, or to pay for a wage or to do something. It's a different ball game, and there are some of those people there. There's just not enough of them. There's not enough of them, and there needs to be more. So that's what I'm telling you. Okay. Well, the gray stuff is smelling good over there, and I think I'm going to head over there. Ladies and gentlemen, the things I talk about, these videos, these nightly chats, all the resources I talk about are over at narts.org/resalestrong. The very next day by noon. By noon the next day, these videos are there. Cassandra and Adele make sure all the resources I talk about are there, and we greatly appreciate that. And they're not just there to keep you all organized. They're there so you can share them with anybody you want. Share them with everybody. Because we're getting everybody across the line here on this. We're not leaving anybody behind. No business owner. I want to take them all. I mean, shoot, if Acina would call me, I'd help them too. I'd help them in their thousands of stores. I'd help them across the line. You darn tootin' I would. We start every day and night, ladies and gentlemen, with the Good Morning, Good Night book. Right after we talk about what we're grateful for, we start with that. But you know, if you have a question before I'm back, you just email me, Neil, Neil at ECIstores.com. Neil at ECIstores.com is where you reach me. Make sure you include your phone number. Our Good Morning, Good Night book. We started on page 38 tonight, in case you were not here at the beginning. Good morning, you magnificent slice of perfection. Yeah, you. Our good night tonight on page 39 is good night, you generous helping of flawlessness. I'm looking at you. Look at those graphics. Look at that cake. That's some awesomeness there. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Neil Abramson. I do like a good party, a wedding, a bar mitzvah. A party with you is where I want to be, and we will party again. I can promise you that. I can. If you haven't registered for NART's virtual conference, make sure you get yourself registered. What are you waiting for? We'll all be there together. Don't miss it. It's coming up soon. It's starting on August 3rd. Hang on a second. Is this the gray stuff?
This is the gray stuff.
Hang on a second. I need the gray stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, the gray stuff.
It's gray.
It's gray.
But it's really good.
Great to have you here, Cam. Marianne, I didn't even see you sneak in. Nebraska Angie, when did you sneak in? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to eat the gray stuff. But know that you, and you, but most especially you're not alone running this store. I'll see you tomorrow, everybody. Have a great night.